Welcome again to Reviews from Purgatory with J. Matt Wygant. This time around, Rosemary's Baby. I don't want to spend a lot of time on this review. Why don't I want to talk about it that much? Because this film feels very dated these days, for a variety of reasons. But I think two of the most critical ones are, it might have been scary at the time, it is not anymore. It hasn't aged well in that aspect, so it doesn't really hold up very well anymore that way. And the other thing, of course, is that the twist is well known. I'm not going to tell you what the twist is, but I guarantee you, most of you who are listening to this review, you probably know what the twist is. Just like, the twist in the Sixth Sense, or Empire Strikes Back, The Crying Game, Psycho. The twist is too well known, and because the twist is too well known, the movie doesn't have as much power anymore. Now that's unfortunate that the twist is so well known, but that's how it is. Some movies with a big twist that were so well known that everybody knows the twist, they still hold up, even if you know what the twist is, like Empire Strikes Back or The Sixth Sense. You strip away that twist, and there's still enough good stuff there that it's entertaining. I think Rosemary's Baby really suffers from everyone knowing what that twist is, although I won't actually mention it here. So, basic story here. Rosemary Woodhouse and her husband, actor Guy Woodhouse, move into a new building in New York City. And this building has a long sordid history. The Branford, as it is called, is where like the Trench sisters cooked and ate 7 children, and where Adrian Marcato said he summoned the living devil and was attacked by people in the lobby. There's a lot of other creepy incidents and so on, deaths and horrible things associated with that place. After the death of a woman in the building named Terry, the people she was staying with, the Castevets, take a strong interest in Guy and Rosemary Woodhouse. Roman and Minnie Castevet start intruding a lot on their lives. Guy and Rosemary are trying to have a baby, and after a particularly weird hallucinatory dream, she is pregnant, and the Castevets and others associated with the Castevets continue to intrude on their lives and try to help them with a lot of things. Most of the movie then is about her pregnancy and all the weird things that happen during it, that you could say they're a coincidence or there is something weird going on, something malicious. Now, I mentioned earlier that it was dated. It is very dated as a horror film. It doesn't hold up anymore. Other classics do, like Halloween. Halloween is still scary. These days, it would have gotten a label like thriller, where it's not really an outright horror flick, but there is some psychological drama playing out. I think the idea still kind of holds up to some degree. In a modern world, ideas like witches and Satanists sound crazy. So it plays on that. I mean, all of these weird things that happen in the course of the story, you could say, well, they're coincidences, or there's something sinister behind them. But the something sinister sounds, ridiculous, sounds insane. To suspect that something sinister would be ludicrous. But at the same time, enough things happen that you go, well, maybe it is something sinister. Watching it for the second time here, I did think that it was better than I remembered it being, but at the same time, it's really slow and dull a lot of the time. It's a plodding story to a good degree, given, especially if you know the twist ending, but even if you don't, it feels very predictable. You know where it's going. A lot of the characters are kind of flat, except for, say, Ruth Gordon and Rosemary herself. Maybe it's just that the film is subtle, and if you're not that into a film being very subtle, then you don't pick up on a lot of things, or you think this is really slow and dry. Rosemary's husband, Guy Woodhouse, is just like a huge asshole in this, and it really feels weird that she doesn't stand up to him more, and that doesn't really bother her more, all the bullshit that he does. So that's kind of an odd thing about the movie. It feels strange now. As to Rosemary herself, the central character, I kept thinking to myself, as you go through all the weird stuff that's going on, why she doesn't wonder more, why she doesn't, like, run off to some relative's house, because there are some weird things going on, and her husband, like I just said, is this huge jackass, so it's like, why doesn't she just go? So things like that kind of bother you in the story, and you're like, it does seem weird that she isn't more bothered by all these strange things going on, that it doesn't become clear something weird is going on sooner. So it becomes a thing where you, the audience, feel that the main character isn't that smart, and that they are kind of weak as a person, that they should be doing more. So, let's get to the ratings then. Fear scale, it's barely a blip, 1. Blood and gore, also barely a blip. Basic rating, I was going to give this a pretty good rating, but after having just reviewed A Nightmare on Elm Street, which, despite a lot of cheesy moments, was a lot more entertaining, I've got to give this lower than that. I'd give it about a 4. It's just a little too slow and dull and predictable. And again, maybe it's just dated, because we all know the twist, and because we are not as easily scared anymore. I'd like to take a page from Jeremy Johns and ask you a question here at the end. Basically, is there a classic movie that you just really don't like, or even hate, that everyone else says is a classic, but you are unimpressed by it? It could be a horror film, maybe it isn't. Maybe it's just any film that is a classic. A classic according to everyone else, but not to you. So, is there a movie that you think doesn't really deserve to be called a classic?
Tempted to write the management that you were drug addicts and litterbugs. Instead, I decided to lie and tell them you were wonderful, Tim.
Ah, you're great, Hutch.
Wish I could talk you out of it, though.
He's pulling your leg, honey.
Geez, I'm not.
Now that looks great.
Are you aware that the Bramford had rather an unpleasant reputation around the turn of the century? It's where the Trench sisters conducted their little dietary experiments, and Keith Kennedy held his parties. Adrian Mercado lived there, too, so did Pearl A.
Who were the Trench sisters?
The Trench sisters were 2 proper Victorian ladies. They cooked and ate several young children, including a niece.
Oh, lovely.
Adrian Mercado practiced witchcraft. He made quite a splash in the 90s by announcing that he'd conjured up the living devil. Apparently people believed him, so they attacked and nearly killed him in the lobby of the Bramford.
You're joking.
Later, the Keith Kennedy business began, and by the 20s, the house was half empty.
I knew about Keith Kennedy. I didn't know that Mercado lived there.
And those sisters.
World War II filled the house up again.
Terrific.
The house?
The lamb.
They called it Black Bramford.
What's that mess in there? There's blood everywhere. Well, it used to be Minnie and Roman. The cast of it? They're dead? Yeah. Did they make the mistake, like Dr. Saperstein, and try to tell it no? No, they didn't try to tell Adrian no. You know how we spell nap in front of him instead of saying nap? Oh, no. He knows how to spell now? Yeah, Rosemary taught him. Do you think she's trying to kill us? Well, our coven did have her impregnated by the devil, but might piss her off a little bit. Yeah, but killing us all? With her little tyke? Sounds like a good plan to me. I guess. This one's really gonna make her laugh, though, you know? I mean, like as hard as she did the day Guy tripped over one of Adrian's toys and yelled at him, the look on his face when he realized what he'd done. Oh, that was priceless. She just couldn't stop laughing after that.